So why is then Trump punishing India using the ruse of the trade deficit?
Well, thank you for having me today, and a pleasure to be with you. What's going on here is that Trump is trying to negotiate a number of trade deals. It's politically important for him to show wins, and he's had some success with the European Union and then with Japan. But India is different, and he has both overreached in using pressure. He has underestimated the complexity of the issues for India, and he has, in a sense, undermined U.S. strategic goals by not only re-legitimizing Russia, but pushing Russia and China and India closer together. It's been a classic Trump tactic to both exaggerate and intimidate in the hopes of bullying the other party into a concession. And this doesn't work in a country like India, which has, but not only a strong, sense of its own sovereignty, but Trump has not understood that countries have their own politics. So agriculture, incredibly sensitive in India. He didn't seek an agriculture deal with the EU, and he didn't seek one with Japan either. So pushing for that for India is too much. He also overestimated the oil weapon. He thought by singling out India for importing Russian crude, when China still imports more, as does, and Turkey imports and others do as well, that he would be able to bully India into a concession. But it's really backfired on all fronts. And then you have fringe characters like Peter Navarro, who is an advisor. He's not the lead on trade, he's an advisor. And, he is, fourth behind, at least behind Howard Lutnick and behind the trade representative Jameson Greer and Scott Bessent, who's really leading these negotiations. So you just have the lack of discipline of a fringe character mouthing off, frankly racist and inappropriate statements. All of this indiscipline really is undermining U.S. interests. And I think there is a way back, but I think it's time for the U.S. and India to apply some diplomacy and get out of the strategic cul-de-sac that frankly President Trump has painted himself into.
I want to come to that in 1 second, but I want to talk about the oil tariffs, because what was striking about these secondary tariffs for importing Russian oil is that India is the only country on whom this 25% tariff has been applied. No other country faces this. China, as you said, imports a hell of a lot more than India does, Russian oil, and yet China doesn't get slapped with this extra 25%. If you were to look at Russian gas, the European Union as a whole imports a whole lot of Russian gas, a whole lot more than India. Again, there is no secondary tariff in the European Union for importing Russian gas. So from India's vantage, it's like, why are you singling us out? I mean, this is not like a tariff anymore. There's no economic rationale for this. This is like a sanction. You're punishing us.
Yes, I would add to your parade of horribles the fact that the United States also imports uranium from Russia as well. Mm-hmm. This is really about Trump's estimation of leverage. The reality is, as you've seen with China, he doesn't have a lot of leverage over China. China can withhold critical minerals and other things important to the U.S., so tariffs have been deferred, negotiations have been delayed, and that negotiation is carrying on without punishment. Trump has also not really sanctioned Russia in any other forum. He hasn't sanctioned any of the Go ships. He hasn't really imposed any consequences. So this is really just about the trade deal. This is Trump's perception that India is vulnerable on oil, and therefore by using that weapon and threatening the additional 25% tariff, that he would be able to extract these concessions. And that was just a miscalculation. It is both deeply hypocritical in that these sanctions aren't being enforced against China and others, and counterproductive in that it's pushing others together. And this isn't the only place this has happened. I mean, in Venezuela also, the U.S. has, threatened secondary tariffs against any country that imports Venezuelan oil. India has respected U.S. sanctions in Venezuela and also the U.S. on crude at almost a $30 discount. So this is making China great again. It does not make sense from a strategic point of view, but this is really all about finding pressure points to intimidate India. And what I think Prime Minister Modi has done with the SCO visit, Putin's incoming visit, is build some leverage and build some capital and show that India has choices. All that said, India's better choice, the United States' better choice, is to work together. And I think rather than let this, turn into some strategic race to the bottom, it's really time for us to look at what is the upside of cooperation. I think this is underappreciated on the Trump side, both from the economic cooperation and the security cooperation that is so important for containing China's aggrandizement. But he has basically gambled that India would concede on the oil weapon, and that gamble has not paid off.
All right. David Goldwyn, thank you very much for joining us and putting that into perspective for our viewers. As you said, it is a strategic cul-de-sac. Is there a way that the Trump administration can realize the mistake that it's made? It's really pushed India into the Russia and China corner. And is there a way to sort of pull back and make nice, if you will?